A furious debate has flared over a $500,000 deal between defence company Raytheon and Aberfoyle Park High School. This week, students started on a course Raytheon helped design and will work with company-funded laptops. Simon Roll reports that advocates argue it's a great way of getting kids into science, while critics insist it's a bomb maker poaching our best and brightest.
It's the end of school days for Year 12s at Aberfoyle Park High. Goodbyes for friends and teachers and for Principal Alan Phelps. But the winds of change are blowing not only for senior students but for the entire public education system. Aberfoyle Park High is at the front line in a battle of ideas about what is public education and who should be involved.
You will be a star. You will be an absolute star.
Why on earth are we inviting a multinational armaments manufacturer into our public high schools to poach our best and brightest students?
The parents, in terms of the vast majority, are fully supportive. The beauty of our society is that Mark Burnell is entitled to his view and to express it.
If you're an education government and you're an education premier, then you need to make sure that you have the responsibility for funding our schools and providing the resources that they need.
2 years ago, the school struck a deal with the Australian subsidiary of US armaments and defence systems manufacturer Raytheon. The Greens are demanding Education Minister Jane Lomax-Smith stop it. The school says the government's right behind it.
My understanding is that Jane Lomax-Smith's question was, why aren't more schools doing this type of business arrangement?
Jane Lomax-Smith wouldn't be interviewed for this program. The deal is worth $500,000 plus GST over the next 3 years. And Alan Phelps says most of that buys laptops for every pupil in a state government program for talented children, about 250 kids. Raytheon has provided IT support and training for teachers. And this Wednesday, students first started working on a curriculum that Raytheon helped design.
They will be set a scenario that says you have a group of astronauts who are stranded on the moon. You need to get them back. It sounds really simple, but it does involve a whole range of mathematical calculations and scientific calculations as well.
Raytheon wouldn't be interviewed. It says it has a strong record of promoting maths and science education, believing it to be valuable to the community. The deal has not only brought criticism, it's fostered creativity. One person making his views clear on YouTube. But the Aberfoyle Park Raytheon relationship is not the first foray by a private company into public education, nor will it be the last. Earlier this year, McDonald's launched Maths Online, an internet mathematics tutorial program. According to the company, more than 500,000 students and 1,200 schools around Australia have used it. McDonald's points out its logo appears just once on login, but critics say it's still force-feeding kids.
It does bug me personally because I know that students that wouldn't normally have the ability to be able to be tutored in maths, for example, have the ability to now. They're able to log on free of charge at their school or at their house and be able to have the same experience in tutorial programs that they may not have had before. So, look, I'm really proud of what we're doing.
And like any battle, this one has a number of fronts, like the question of who's responsible for paying for public education.
The question for me is, public education should be resourced adequately out of the public purse. We shouldn't have to be dependent on hamburger makers or missile makers to give our kids a good education.
In a perfect world, yes. My question then to society is, what are you prepared to pay for that? How much money is appropriate for education? More than you've got.
Then there's the question of whether Raytheon gets unfair access to the best and brightest future employees.
There is no way that it could be interpreted as Raytheon trying to purloin our students for their employment. We are exploring the engineering, and that's the focus that we have.
So Raytheon's not about poaching your students?
Not at all.
What do they get from it then?
What they get is the opportunity to work with our gifted and talented students to show them through the curriculum opportunities in engineering.
What the company is trying to do is ingratiate itself to the state, to the students, to their parents, and help direct our kids into their particular industry.
But it's the nature of Raytheon's business that's divided people. In South Australia, the company's involved in the air warfare destroyer project and Techport at Osborne. Internationally, though, Raytheon is perhaps best known for making armaments such as Patriot missiles.
Certainly, Raytheon haven't hidden from the defence stuff. We don't hide from that either. We also educate our students to make ethical decisions for themselves. We've got 3 core values at this school against which we are accountable, and they are respect, care and compassion, and honesty.
It's Raytheon's weapons that were killing civilians in Gaza, killing civilians in the Lebanon, and people might feel comfortable having a relationship with that company. I don't.
What makes this story really interesting is that it forces one to make value judgments about what's appropriate and what's not. If self-defence is legitimate, does it follow then so's taking money from the defence industry? And what happens if the local butcher throws a sausage sizzle for the school? What happens, though, if the sausages come from one of the big supermarket chains? It's about where to draw the line and, of course, who does the drawing. Would your attitude be the same if Greenpeace wanted to sponsor an environment class?
What you've got to look at is the resources that our teachers use with our kids. Now, if a class was doing a project on climate, then they would get their resources from a range of sources. They might get something from Greenpeace, they can get that off the internet, they might get something from the mining industry, from the coal lobby, and we need to teach our kids that there are a range of views out there, and they should be looking at everything critically. But I'm not aware of Greenpeace or anyone else offering to give laptop computers to the best and brightest kids at a high school the same way this missile maker is.
But if they did, would it be the same rule for them? And that is that it's not a good idea.
I think the best idea of all is to leave education to our public system. So, yes, I think the rules are similar.
I wouldn't enter into an arrangement with a business that the school community didn't support. That's the essence of it.
I wouldn't. A tobacco company, would you take money from a tobacco company?
I wouldn't answer for the school community. Frankly, in terms of our partnership with Raytheon, that's supported by the state strategic plan, also supported by federal plans as well. So we believe we're in a right place strategically.
Sure, but is there a place you wouldn't go in terms of a principle, a line that shouldn't be crossed? In other words, this type of business should not be involved in a public school.
If you're asking me personally, then personally there is no way that I would encourage any involvement with a tobacco company.
And this debate will go on. Aberfoyle Park High says it will be signing sponsorship deals with other companies soon, and that's something other schools no doubt will watch with interest.